Hey, welcome to another episode of the DTC Insider podcast. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today I'm super excited to have Garrett Peters with me. He's a co-founder of Duncan Stone. Garrett and his team launched their fast-growing e-commerce business in 2020. What a year! And they've seen incredible growth, going from 3 million in 2023 to an estimated 5 million in 2024. With a background in scaling operations, Garrett has a lot of insights to share about growing an e-commerce brand, managing cash flow, and navigating fulfillment challenges. And last but not least, we're going to talk about something hot right now, TikTok Shop. So don't miss out on this one. Hey, Garrett, thanks for being on the show.
Man, thanks for having me, Brian. Excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. So why don't you start by telling the audience more about you and Duncan
Yeah,
Stone?
yeah, for sure, man. A little about me. I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas, here in the States. I have been married for 15 years to Stephanie, my wife, and I have three
Wow.
kiddos. So we got three maniacs at the house. We got a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old. We have all boys. So it's just think about a zoo, and that's just our house basically every day. So
Well, I have twins, a boy and a girl, but they are five.
awesome.
So it's a zoo, but younger
Yeah,
zoo with less experience.
that's so great, man. That's so fun. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been able to run this business for 3 years full time, which is awesome. We started the business in 2019 and launched officially in 2020. Yeah, so we're just rocking and rolling. Get to run the business with my wife, and it's a blast.
Interesting. I mean, launching a business in 2019, what could go wrong? I mean, 2020 is our
Yeah,
year,
like what did
baby.
we? I mean,
We,
listen, it all worked out. What's funny is like we look back and we literally started selling in February of 2020, and our first items were like pregnancy journals and childhood books and things like that. And it was like it actually worked out well for us for our
yeah,
brand because people were at home.
exactly.
It's like, hey, I want to start that childhood book I didn't start. I have never gotten around to. So kind of helped propel us a little bit. So
Amazing. So you launched in 2019, in 20, sorry, in early 2020, you started
mhm.
selling. What was that
Yeah,
year like? I mean, compared to,
yeah,
let's say, 2021 and the years
yeah,
that came next. Of course, it was the first one, but you
yeah.
said that it was better than you expected, probably. Why do you think
Yeah. Yeah, I
case?
think that man, we didn't know what the heck we were doing, honestly, Brian. I mean, I had some background working with brands. I spent my career working in with brands selling to Walmart and Sam's Club and was familiar with all of that stuff, but none of us had any expertise in e-commerce or any of that stuff. And so dude, we were just trying to figure it out, honestly. Like I had good friends that worked on Amazon and worked on different Walmart.com and all these, they like were able to guide me a little bit. But man, I just was reading as much as I could, like trying to learn, like, how do you grow a business? And just do all the stuff that, agencies like you tell, that are experts in that space. And like, hey, we got to do that. And so we didn't know what we didn't know in 2020, but, we kind of said, hey, if we sell, 10,000 units this year in 2020, that's a win. Like we had like this goal of let's sell 10,000 units and we sold way, more than that, thankfully, which is awesome. But dude, we were just enjoying it. We are just figuring it out. We're just like running the business out of our garage while our kids are at home. It was just chaos, man.
And what was the first, milestone that you're proud of that you remember?
Yeah. Man, I think that the biggest one whenever we were first starting was our holiday season, honestly. Like I remember um our first holiday, we're in November, December, we're doing fulfillment ourselves, for everything that wasn't Amazon. We have an FBA Amazon business, and so we weren't fulfilling that, thankfully. But everything else we were fulfilling out of our house. And I remember having a big party, like a big like packing party with a bunch of friends. Our business partners were there. We had our kids out there. It was just like all hands on deck to like get orders out as much as we could, dude. And we had music jamming. I mean, it was just like a straight up like, party. And I remember being like, this is really happening. Like this is crazy. Like customers are ordering from us and we're fulfilling product. This is insane. Like what is happening? And I just remember thinking about like through the holidays, like, wow, this is wild. Like we're starting a business. This is crazy.
What was the first channel you launched on? Was it or the main channel you were selling through?
Yeah, the first channel we launched on was actually Amazon. So we,
Okay.
we had a website set up and we were selling through we sell on Etsy, we sell on our website, and we sell on Amazon. Those are and now TikTok shops, which we'll get into in a little bit. But
Yes.
we when we were starting, it was like we just didn't have the expertise or the strategy in place to build like a direct to consumer brand through our website. So when we were launching, it was like, let's go to Amazon. That's where a bunch people are shopping mostly. So let's just start there. And we did all the right steps to make sure we're, a registered brand on Amazon and get all the content stuff and do all the things to be, have a high quality brand on Amazon. But that's where we started.
Amazing. And then are you on Shopify right now? I mean,
Yeah,
these
we
days.
are. Yep. Yeah, we have a Shopify store for our website, and then like I said, Etsy's always been a really good channel for us as well. And we were selling on Etsy from day one when we launched as well. And so we have a really our Etsy business is actually bigger than our website,
Wow.
which is
Really?
crazy, which is crazy. So
Wow. And
yeah,
what about so you mentioned, TikTok Shop.
yeah,
So TikTok Shop is much newer, than
yeah,
Amazon, of course, Shopify, etc. So
yeah, yeah.
when did you start with your
Yeah.
shop on TikTok, and how is that working out for you?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I mean, I would say we're still trying to figure it out, and it seems like a lot of brands are still trying to figure it out too. It's like the wild wild west right now with TikTok shops. It's like it's all the rage. But I mean, backing up a little bit, I started hearing. I feel like we were a little late to the game, honestly, because we just started selling on TikTok shops like 4 or 5 months ago, honestly. But basically, it was this thing that was kind of we're seeing news, we're seeing brands talk about it, we're seeing the growth of what's happening on TikTok shops, and honestly, for us and our team, we were like, do we want to do that? Like, we don't know how to like get it all set up the right way. Like, it was kind of a hesitant, we are hesitant about it, but the agency that we work with predominantly basically came to us and said, "Hey, we want to figure this out. We know this is something that we need to offer to our clients and become experts in. Can we use Duncan and Stone to kind of trial and guinea pig getting TikTok shots set up?" And for us, it was like that's a huge win. This is an charted territory and sales channel for us. Like, sure, let's do it. And so they went through the process of like making sure all the items were set up, making sure everything was optimized, making sure we could like all the shop technical things were kind of in place. And then we just started reaching out to creators. I think that's the biggest thing that what we've seen and from direction from even TikTok, internally is brands that are really winning are just really crushing it with the right partners and creators. It's like almost micro influencer kind of level, like 5 to 10,000 followers. Like it doesn't even have to be massive following, but really focusing on those sorts of like audiences and then giving out as many samples as you can. Because what we're seeing is like we sell a lot of different products, and so we have all sorts of different journals. We sell keepsake books and childhood books, anniversary journals. We have 50 types of items now. And what we're seeing is like what actually works on TikTok shops is kind of like who knows like what's going to happen. And so like we're trying to find creators that are in these different kind of areas and just to see what works, see what sticks, see what does well, things like that.
Yeah, we are doing something similar to what your agency did with you guys a few months ago. And we are trying to figure things out with a few brands that have already agreed to, a 60-day free program we are offering for them.
Yeah.
And what we have heard in different workshops we attended on how to grow TikTok shop, etc., is that you need to launch only a few SKUs, hero products under
Yeah.
$50, $70 or less. And you said that you have like 50 or more SKUs.
Yeah.
Did you launch with all of them or you chose only a few of them?
We actually, I mean, it was more of our entire portfolio that we got
Okay.
at least active in there. And what we've done is we've focused on specific product kind of offerings. Like for instance, like our childhood books have done really well. So, that sort of line has really resonated. And so for the summer, we were really pushing that. So childhood memory books, baby's first year books, pregnancy journals, all of that sort of stuff seemed to resonate really well. And so we're kind of going through looking at different products for a period of a couple months to really find creators and push those items, kind of as, just to kind of break it up.
You find that, the products that used to, like your hero products that do really well on Amazon or on your website are the best performing ones on TikTok Shop, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. And that was kind of surprising, honestly, is like some of the best performing items that we've had on TikTok Shop so far is they haven't been our hero items that are one of some of our top sellers, like on Amazon, for instance. And so um that's a learning for us is like, and I've asked other brand owners is like, how do you navigate that? Like, how do we know? Because it comes into like, how do you forecast that? How do you prepare inventory for that? Et cetera, et cetera. If they're not our hero items, like we sold out of an item because it
Right.
did really well. And so it's like, I haven't got any good intel on that. So if if you're some of your listeners are like, hey, we could figure it out, like let me know. But it's just one of those things that a couple of our items hit, we didn't have enough stock for that. And so we sold
Right.
out.
Right. Makes
So it's
sense.
interesting. It's just interesting that like that channel is, and we're like I said earlier, we're still learning. We're still trying to figure out how to do it the right way. I mean, it's good for us because it's like a new channel and some of our items that weren't historically doing well are doing well on this, platform. So it's like it helps us diversify a little bit, I suppose, but also it's hard to navigate how to do it right.
So you mentioned you reached out to creators and that's doing well, not necessarily, big creators, but probably mini influencers,
Yeah.
etc. So how did you reach out to them? Did you use TikTok's affiliate center platform, or did you reach out
Mhm.
through other tools, or did they come to you?
A little bit of both. Honestly, it's mainly just through TikTok Affiliate Center, honestly, is kind of the where we spend most of our time. And then organically, like as people reach out, like we've also had a lot of that too. So we've tried like I know there's different software and different kind of tools out there for some of that influencer stuff. We've not really used any of it yet, to be honest. We're just kind of sticking to what's available through TikTok shops now.
Do you remember more or less? Sorry, I'm picking your brain on this because I think
Oh, you're
that
fine.
it's, to me, I told you full disclaimer, it's really relevant for me to better understand this. So, but also for the audience, in the audience, we have, brand founders,
Yeah.
CMOs, we have also, some other marketers. So this is, going to be live, we're airing, right before Black Friday. So
Yeah.
it's key for many, agencies or many brands that want to start doing TikTok. I think I told you offline, we started offering a 6 day, like free
Mhm.
6 day program to our newsletter subscribers. And I'm not going to mention name, but for real, we received, like, we said that we are going to take on five, brands only
Yeah.
because it's for
Yeah.
free. Once in a lifetime, we're going to offer it for free, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we received some, like, two or three big names that I was like shocked to hear from them. And probably if
Really?
I offer, yeah, and probably if I offered, like, I don't know, Facebook ads management or Google, which we do, I think we wouldn't have gotten their attention, right? But in this
Yeah.
case, I think that, to your point, that even if it's not that new, it is new to many brands because
Yeah. Yeah.
brands have too many issues and too many battles at the same time these days to start a new channel. They want to get
Yeah.
the most out of Meta, to get the most out of another channel line on TikTok, Google. They
Yeah.
are not in the mood to try something. So, but now they
Totally.
are saying, okay, like, let's see how
Let's see what
TikTok
happens.
shop goes. Yeah.
Well, and that what I would say to that to the people that are like, hey, we're interested in doing it. I regret not doing it earlier, to be honest with you, because what I'm seeing and hearing is like it takes time to like get stuff circulated in there. So like there's even partnerships and videos. Some of our best videos were, created 2 months ago or 30 days ago. So it's not like an immediate thing. It's like it's just like it's more of there's a longer kind of lag and lead time for some of the stuff to hit in TikTok. Because what I'm seeing is like we literally talked this morning as a team, and we're like looking at quarter 4, like what's going to happen with TikTok? Who knows? Maybe it's great, maybe it's not so good. I'm not sure. Like who even knows? And I'm like, we only have a few months of data, and I'm like, I wish we would have started earlier. Like even if you're starting and you don't know how, like that was the same for us. It's like I don't want to get all that stuff set up. Like I don't have time for that. It's just like who's going to do that on our team? And so
Yeah.
find somebody that can do it, get it going, and see what happens.
Yeah. Did you manually upload the products, or did you sync it with Shopify or something like
Sync
that?
it with Shopify.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. We sync it all with Shopify. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great, man.
Yeah. So we a few months ago I had the pleasure of interviewing John Roman, the CEO of BattleBox.
Yeah.
Beautiful company. They do great stuff online. Now he's a host of the Awesome Pod as well. Amazing
Nice.
podcast for those who
Nice.
are not familiar with it. And basically, what he said, they are big on long form content. For instance, they have 700,000 followers or subscribers to their YouTube channel. They are big on, TikTok. They are big on everything they said to do, they do. But still to this day, he said two things. One, TikTok shines when it shines for
Mm.
them. The number one channel for them is Meta. Now they want to diversify, or better said, they diversified already,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
because they don't want to rely on Meta as many brands, right? But it's still the number one as for many other brands out there. But TikTok for them, he said that, and he said that the top performing videos for TikTok Shop are not even created by them.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
saying that because they produce really high quality content. If you know their content
Really.
is, they have Brandon, the long beard guy, full-time creator in-house, producing professional content. They even have a TV show on Netflix. So these guys know what they are doing when it comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
content. And they said our content is not the best performing one,
That's
you know?
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, I
Have you
mean,
seen it?
we definitely, and we don't have any of the content that they do, honestly. And we've, man, what's funny is like I told my partner co-founders over like years ago, I'm like, we need to have a TikTok, like we need to be active as our brands on TikTok and this and that. And we're like, what are we gonna do on TikTok? We're like,
You're not
we're
going to
good.
dance, are
I'm
you?
not going to do. What are we gonna do? Like, I don't get it. And so we were laughing for a long time, but man, our best performing videos are for sure our customers. It's not content that we're creating. We do have some out there, but where it's not really a kind of a sweet spot for us in our brand. And so it's like we're
Yeah.
just partnering with great content creators. We're reusing stuff. We're just it's really fun.
Yeah, talking about your customers, many brands overlook the simple stuff, and it's easy sometimes because we are in the trenches all day long. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's common for to overlook the simple stuff sometimes. But recently, I posted on LinkedIn that we help a few clients with different tactics with each of them get content from their customers. They needed content. They didn't have the money or willingness to pay a lot of money for content. And he said,
Yeah.
hey, do you want real UGC, not AGC, like actor generated content? Do you want like customer content? So let's turn to our customers. Let's send them an email. For some, it was gamified, the top 10 or the best 10 pieces of content that
Yeah.
we receive. We are going to feature you in blah, blah. And some others were just direct asks. It's like, hey, we need content. We would love for you to, we consider you're a loyal customer. We would love for you to send us content if you love the brand. And
Yeah.
I don't know, a few lines of what you think about the products that you receive, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. So we can use on social media and the website.
Heck
And we
yeah.
receive we select like a subset of customers, like 5,000 of them, only 5,000 customers. And we receive 65 pieces of content.
Dang, dude.
65 pieces of content. Like otherwise
Amazing.
it would have taken a month to
Yeah,
generate
yeah.
or dollars from
Yeah.
real genuine customers.
It's amazing, man. Well, that's the name of the game now, man. I think that you hear more and more like brands that I feel like are crushing it are the ones that are leveraging content, either the stuff they're making themselves, UGC, whatever it may be. It's just like getting that freaking wheel turning and
Yeah.
cranking out content, man.
Yeah. The last question I have on TikTok
Mhm.
shop, I don't want to be like, so
Mhm.
are you running ads for TikTok shop? And when did you start?
We just started to. And we're learning. I honestly can't really speak to it because I'm not involved at all. So I'll just be making stuff up if I start talking about it. But we're just started to, um, and we're what the way that we're currently doing it is kind of piggybacking off of like best performing videos, running ads off of stuff. We've gotten some insight from TikTok directly, and so I've just anytime I can try to connect with somebody and from TikTok, I'm like, hey, meet with us, look at our account, look at what's going on, and then like help us create some ads, in the system basically. So we're testing some things and starting to do it.
Amazing, great. So now I
Yeah.
wanted to change subjects for a minute and ask you about, some brands as you did too, are scaling and thriving in a super tough environment, super tough content for many other brands. But
Hmm.
scaling has its own challenges as well. For example, to manage, cash flow and inventory as you scale, you
Yeah.
know? So how do you handle that, or
Oh my
which
gosh.
challenges you faced as you
Oh
scaled?
man. It's that's we talk about all the time. It's just it is a challenge. And so for us, the way we run our business is we have our manufacturers overseas. And so, we're ordering 3 or 4 times a year, most likely, sometimes more. And there's this constant kind of looking at our inventory and looking at our forecasts and seeing what we need to buy. And it's just this constant back and forth, honestly. And I think what we've found is there's value obviously in the more you order, your cost of goods is going down, right? So like for us, like if we can order a container of some of our a best item, we might be sitting on that inventory for a little longer, but our cost of goods is much lower. So like, hey, why don't we order a little bit more? And so it's it's a constant kind of battle that we're looking at and attention of like how much do we buy? How much do we need? We got burned, early on the first few years during the holidays. Honestly, man, it was like our best item was out of stock, like 1st of December or something like that, and like we're completely out. We don't print in the we it takes us at least 8 weeks. Back in the day, it was much longer. It was like 12, 14 weeks or something. But now it's you're out of stock for a couple months. And so it's like we have missed so many sales. And so I think the first few holidays, we learned that. And this part of like learning your business, right? Of like what's our hero items, what do we need to focus on, et cetera, et cetera. But especially during the holidays, we're like, we cannot be out of these 3 or 4 items. These are our hero SKUs. I don't care if we have to order a gazillion of these things. Like we need them in stock because if we're going to be able to grow the business and scale and grow revenue, like we have to have inventory on hand. And so, man, I'll say it's been a challenge. What we've partnered with a local bank that's here where we live, and we have a line of credit with them, and there's no way we could scale our business without that at this point. And
Yeah,
so we borrow from that line of credit to buy inventory, and we're paying it off and kind of managing the business that way.
yeah, exactly. So
I
we
mean,
had it was unfortunate. We had the same with a few clients. They were doing pretty well, and after the holidays, they run. Luckily, it was after the holidays though, but I think it was in January, they run out of stock of their hero
yeah,
products. So we need to scale down a lot. And then it's not about scaling down that month. It's not that easy to scale back up, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah,
So they were like aggressively like going down, and it was like, okay, let's try to recover. So
yeah.
inventory management is key. I remember interviewing here in the pod an eight-figure brand that sells only belts. It's called Anson Belt and Buckle. Well,
Yeah.
they sell belts and buckles, of course, but it's probably
Yeah.
part of the same. And they were saying that I was asking them why only one SKU, and they were saying, well, because of the logistics, inventory management, etc. So I cannot even imagine what is it like
Oh
to you
gosh.
guys with 50 plus
Oh my gosh.
SKUs.
Yeah, it's out of control. And it's something that I really wrestle with internally, Brian, is like my co-partner or my co-founders are always wanting to crank out new items. It's like that's the tension of like for us as a journal and keepsake brand, like new stuff. Here's what customers are needing. We need to have a wide range of products and et cetera. That's great and all, but I'm like, it gets too complex though. And the 80/20 rule still applies to us too. Like a lot of brands is like, man, we have a core set of items that do most of our volume. And so we're still learning. I mean, we're 4 years in and still trying to learn exactly what it looks like. And I've thankfully gotten to trim down, trim off a few items. Like it's got to go. We're not ordering that thing again. Like we're going to sell out of that. But I mean, some people that I talk to are like, dude, you have too many items. And then others are like, you don't have enough. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we're just trying to figure it out. It's just a lot, dude. I'm like, what if we had 100? That is seems like a it seems like a freaking headache to me, man.
Have you done the exercise like the 80/20, the 20%
hmm
of items that produce
Oh
the
yeah.
80% of revenue?
Oh yeah. Oh
Have you
yeah.
ever
We
considered
know. Yeah.
removing a
I mean, we
product?
literally have like five or six SKUs that do 70% of our volume, 60 or 70%. I mean, truthfully. And so um you know, it's great. It's great because we have a handful of awesome items that do really well. So it's not just one, like we don't just sell like one journal and depend on that one thing, but um that's a tension and balance, man, because like it is fun to release new stuff and customers are always like there's tons of stuff that we would love to go create, but it's like makes more complex. Like I'm more interested in like let's keep things simple and make it efficient and go right and flow right and but my partner's like let's create new stuff, so I'm like, oh shoot, what do you do?
So we have discussed, customer acquisition, TikTok Shop, Amazon, Etsy, your website,
Yep.
Meta. So what about retention? Is that a
hmm
priority for you? Was it always this way?
Man, I didn't even know what that was until like a couple years ago. No, I mean, what's funny is like until probably 2022 ish, it was like our website was we really didn't have any sort of strategy around retention. We weren't segmenting customers. We have Klaviyo set up, but we weren't using it. We're not capturing text messages. We weren't communicating to customers. It was like there was no strategy in place at all. Like I said, we launched our brand on Amazon and we're just trying to like grow. And
Right.
it really hit me like a couple years ago. I'm like, we don't really talk to our customer at all. And that's not good. And that's not a good thing. And so yeah, we've invested into that space. We have a great agency that we work with that helps us, guides us through a lot of that stuff around email marketing and text message and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's I mean, it's an area that we want to continue to get better at for sure.
Yeah, thanks for that transparency, first of all. And second, you're not alone. I think most brands were in the same position because let's face it, it was a wild few years, since 2020 for many e-commerce brands, even more for the new ones, because you had a lot of things to figure it out as you grew really fast. So there are priorities as you grow, and the first one is to see if there's product market fit, if people are going to
Yeah.
buy, if people are going to return what they buy, what they say about you, what they love, what they hate. So figuring things out to acquire customers, I think that comes first. But then there's a
Yeah.
point in which you say, hey, what about my customers? So I
Yeah.
think
What do
there
you
are a
do?
few things that, yeah, many companies are still doing, but many, many big companies and small companies, I mean, it's really tough to stand out these days. Let's
Yeah.
face it, like, we need to fight for the consumer's budget, for what they can spend. And it's really tough to stand out. There are a few ways of doing that. There's no shortcuts, no magic, no anything like that. But sometimes it comes down to the basics, right? So doing the non-scalable actions, some founders, meet customers in person, call their customers. And I'm talking about
Yeah.
not only like brands starting out. I'm talking about 8 and 9 figure brands as well. BattleBox is an example. They even go to the point to calling customers who didn't buy again for the last 90 days or so. So imagine
Well,
that your
what?
customer buys once and then they don't buy again, and you have a CX department and call them again. You you
Dang.
you that in the system, and then you call them and say, hey,
Yeah.
what did you buy? What happened, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So that's how far companies, and that's an eight-figure company, that's how far companies are willing to go these days for a
Yeah.
customer, not to get their money only, but to make them happy, to have
Yeah.
a good experience, to encourage them, to tell them all their friends, hey, this company called me today. It never happened to me.
So cool.
So
That's so cool. I love that, man. I love it.
yeah, so calling their customers, it's only one thing that, you know, it goes a long way. It doesn't scale, but these days the beauty of the
Yeah.
era we are living in is that even the non-scalable actions can scale. For example,
Exactly.
there's this company that, you know, call their customers and with their permission, they record themselves, they put the customer on speaker, and while talking to the customer with their permission again, somebody
Yeah.
else uh, records a video that then they use in the ads. Some
No
other
way.
founders, they go to Central Park and some other locations with a sign saying, ask us about our bags, for example.
Yeah.
And they start interacting with customers. And what the beauty of that is that you can see what they, look in the product. Oh, the pockets are too big, the pockets are too small, the zippers, I don't like them. So you can interact with customers in a way that you can. And guess what? They recorded
Oh,
that and
absolutely.
it's a viral video on
Yeah.
TikTok, right?
That's so great, man. Yeah, I have a guy I know and I follow, created a great brand and did that when he was launching new items. And I think that he was like, as they were considering new products, they would call some of those loyal customers and ask them a bunch of questions like, what about this? What about that? And they just help them build the product and like you already have a loyal customer following. Like if you asked all your loyal customers and like you already have it's going to be a success. And so I love that, man. We need to do that more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to ask you is about your strategy for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's really around the corner. This is going to air on the 16th, more or less. So it's only a few weeks before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So for anyone listening to these or watching this before that date, any last minute tips for them?
Oh, listen, go visit duncanandstone.com and get your gifts. Honestly, we have everything you need. I mean, I am joking, but I'm not joking. Seriously, we do have a ton of great giftable items. So if you love your wife or you want to get something for your mom or your dad or whatever like that, we have a lot of cool, unique gifts for a really great value for the holidays. Man, holidays are amazing, man. I think that we're building our plans now and have been for the last few months. And so now it's just a matter of executing. I mean, truly. And so we got everything in place and we're ready to have a good holiday season for sure over here, Duncan
One
and
thing I
Stone.
recently posted about, and it's going to be probably too late for when this airs, but just for you and for whoever
Yeah.
listens to this right when this airs, don't forget about your existing customers. Many brands forget about their existing customers and launch things aiming to getting new customers, which is fine. But probably you can get your customers hooked with something that is not only a discount, for example, early access, exclusive deals, a
Mhm.
gift with purchase, or something else for being loyal to them. Sometimes it's existing customers only, and sometimes you can extend that to those who subscribe to the wait list or whatever
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
campaign starts. So that's
Yeah.
probably a few ideas for those
Yeah.
interested in
Yeah. I love that. Absolutely.
classic.
That's a great nugget. That's a great nugget.
Yeah. So I love to continue the conversation for way more hours, but I know we
Do
are
it
almost on
again.
time.
We'll do it
So
again.
I wanted to ask you two more questions before we go. The first one is a question that we ask every guest that come on the show because I started this as a selfish question because I wanted to, get more books to read, more ideas on what to read. So I started
Of
this
course.
question as a selfish question, but then we started putting together a list of books every year mentioned here in the
Love it.
pod. Do you have any to recommend to the audience?
Oh my gosh. 10x is greater than 2x is the book I would
10x.
recommend.
Hey,
10x is great. Is 10x is easier than 2x is what it is. So
hey.
it's a book. I'm looking up it's Dan Sullivan is the name of the author.
Yeah, I know it.
It's dude, it's rocked my world, man. It's rocked my world. It's given me such a new perspective and kind of frame of how it's not just within the business, it applies to any area. And I think that's kind of what's been impactful for me is like how do I live with the 10x sort of mindset? And it's like
Right.
a mind shift of like, what does that look like for my health? What does that look like for my marriage, for my business? And like it, for me right now, it's just made me get super tight about what am I doing? What am I caring for? Like, what am I focused on? And man, so I couldn't recommend that book enough, man.
Great recommendation, and I love it because I love those kinds of books. And second, because it's a new book for the list, and I think it
Yes.
can go
Oh,
well. I didn't read it. I will do, but I think that it can go well for what you're saying with Atomic Habits, because one thing is
yes,
to set a goal, and another one is to build a habit to pull it off. So I think
absolutely,
that
man.
two good
Well,
reads.
it's just such a, I mean, how often I know I fall into this is like, especially if you're an entrepreneur, kind of have a bunch of business ideas, it's just so easy to get scattered around. We got to do this, 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 we got to do all these things. And that, it's like find what you're really good at and really passionate about and things that are going to 10x and just do that. Just execute
Exactly,
on that thing, you know?
exactly. I love that one.
Easier said than done. Easier said than done, I feel like most of the time. But
Sure. That's why I love, these books that help you with the day-to-day work to put in the reps every single day without
yes,
looking up or at the sides. But yeah,
yes,
um, the last question I got for you is where can people go to learn more about you and the company?
for sure. Check me out on LinkedIn. Garrett Peters, look me up, connect with me, shoot me a note. Would love to meet you if you're interested in joining our journey. I post all sorts of shenanigans on LinkedIn, so at the very least, it'll be kind of a fun, fun to see what I post out there. But yeah, LinkedIn and then our website, duncanandstone.com. You can go check us out there.
For those listening to this or watching this, why not? Please, if you go to the DTC Insider podcast.com and find the episodes, you will find all the show notes, including the book
So
he mentioned, and of course, the website and LinkedIn handle. Garrett,
love
it
it.
was a pleasure to meet you. It was a very, very interesting conversation, and I took a lot of notes about TikTok Shop and everything else you
Oh,
said.
good, good, man. Awesome. Well, hey, Brian, thanks again for having me. It was a blast.